Hi, students. So, this week at Rosa Parks, we're celebrating Family Diversity Week. Do you know that word diversity? Does anybody know what it means? Have you heard it before? You probably heard it before. Not quite sure what it means? Well, diverse means different. So, what we're celebrating this week at Rosa Parks is all the different kinds of families that we have at Rosa Parks. And you guys have been going to Rosa Parks now for a while, so or most of you anyway. So, you've heard all the stories that I've read about all the different kinds of families. So, when I was a kid, things were not always like they are today with all these different kinds of families. Most families looked something like this family in this picture. They had a dad, a mom, and some kids. Maybe one kid, maybe two kids, maybe three kids, maybe more. And this is what you would say, you might call this family a traditional family. So most families looked like this. And there were a few families that didn't look that way, and my family was one of those. It didn't look that way. And when other people would find out that I didn't live in a family that looked that way, they treated me different and they'd go, "Oh, that's weird." And how do you think that made me feel? Did it feel good to hear that my family was weird, or did it hurt my feelings? Yep, you're right. It hurt my feelings, and sometimes it made me feel so sad that it made it hard for me to concentrate in school. So that's the reason that we have Family Diversity Week at Rosa Parks School, is that we want everyone here to feel welcome and safe and know that their families are okay no matter what. And so today I'm going to read you a story about a different kind of family that doesn't look like the traditional family. In fact, it's not even a human family. It's a penguin family. This book is called And Tango Makes Three. It's by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. They wrote the story, and it's illustrated by Henry Cole. It's published by Simon and Schuster Books for Young Readers, and I want to thank them for letting me read this on video so that I can share it with you. And Tango Makes Three. So here's where the story takes place. What is this setting that you see here in the picture? It looks like a park, right? And what else do you see in the background there? Is this park in the country? No. See those buildings there? This park is in the city. Does anybody have any guesses what park this is? All right, let's turn the page and find out. In the middle of New York City, there is a great big park called, does anyone know? Central Park. Children love to play there. It has a toy boat pond where they can sail their boats. It has a carousel to ride on in the summer. So far looking a lot like our park, Golden Gate Park, right? And an ice rink to skate on in the winter. Best of all, it has its very own zoo. Every day, families of all kinds go to visit the animals that live there. But children and their parents aren't the only families at the zoo. The animals make families of their own. There are red panda bear families with mothers and fathers. and furry red panda bear cubs. There are monkey dads and monkey moms raising monkey babies. There are toad families. And toucan families. Caw, caw. And cotton top tamarin families. Ooh, 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 ha, ha. And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year at the very same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins. And the boy penguins start noticing the girl penguins. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. And I know some of you are going, ew. But believe me, in another few years, you won't be saying that. It's normal to feel that way when you're a kid. But I'll tell you something else. When something makes you feel that feeling where you go, ew, that can really hurt somebody's feelings if they hear you saying that. And it also doesn't make you necessarily sound like you're super smart. So, another way to react that you can practice to make you sound more smart and just less offensive to other people is to say, ah, interesting. So, if you don't really understand something or it makes you feel kind of strange because it's something new to you, you can just say, ah, interesting. I'm curious about that. I don't understand about that. And it will make you sound way more smart. Plus, you'll sound nicer. Two penguins in that penguin house were a bit different. One was named Roy, and the other was named Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys, but they did everything together. There they are, Roy and Silo. Maybe some of you have a best friend that you do everything together with. I bet you do. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper, Mr. Gramsay, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love. There's Mr. Gramsay. And here's Roy and Silo putting their necks around each other. And this is what boy and girl penguins do with each other when they are wanting to make a couple. So that's why Mr. Gramsay thinks they're in love. Remember, ah, interesting is kinder than ew. So if this is something new and unfamiliar to you, be curious, but don't be unkind. Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home. So they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples. There they are, taking turns bringing rocks to their nest. There's their nest. And every morning, Roy and Silo woke up together. But one day, Roy and Silo saw that the other couples could do something that they could not. What's going on back there? What do the other couples have going on there? Can you see? The mama penguin would lay an egg. She and the papa penguin would take turns keeping the egg warm until finally it would hatch. And then there would be a baby penguin. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm, because who lays the eggs, the boy penguins or the girl penguins? Right, the girl penguins lay the eggs. So boy penguins don't lay eggs, so Roy and Silo couldn't have an egg. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. It was only a rock, but Silo carefully sat on it and sat and sat. When Silo got sleepy, he slept. And when Silo was done sleeping and waiting and sitting, he swam and Roy sat. Day after day, Silo and Roy sat on the rock. But nothing happened. Poor Roy and Silo. Then Mr. Gramsci had an idea. He found an egg that needed to be cared for, and he brought it to Roy and Silo's nest. Roy and Silo knew just what to do. They moved the egg to the center of their nest. Every day they turned it so each side stayed warm. Some days Roy sat while Silo went for food. Other days it was Silo's turn to take care of their egg. They sat in the morning and they sat at night. They sat through lunchtime and swim time and supper. They sat at the beginning of the month and they sat at the end of the month and they sat all of the days in between. Until one day they heard something. They heard a sound coming from inside their egg. Beep, 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 it said. Roy and Silo called back. Squawk, squawk, beep, beep, answered the egg. Suddenly, a tiny hole appeared in the egg's shell, and then crack! Out came their very own baby. She had fuzzy white feathers and a funny black beak. Now Roy and Silo were fathers. We'll call her Tango, Mr. Gramsci decided, because it takes two to make a tango. So that's a famous saying, and by the way, a tango is a famous dance. You should go look it up on YouTube. It's a very dramatic and fun dance to watch. And it takes two people to do the dance of the tango. And so there's a famous saying that it takes two to tango. So they're calling The baby, Mr. Gramsci decided to call the baby Tango because it took Roy and Silo, two birds, to bring Tango out of her shell. Roy and Silo taught Tango how to sing for them when she was hungry. They fed her food from their beaks. They snuggled her in their nest at night. Tango was the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. Soon, Tango grew strong enough to leave the nest. Roy and Silo took her for a swim just like all the other penguin families. And all the children who came to the zoo could see Tango and her two fathers playing in the penguin house with the other penguins. Hooray, Roy! Hooray, Silo! Welcome, Tango! They cheered. There they are, swimming. At night, the three penguins returned to their nest. They snuggled together, and like all the other penguins in the penguin house, and all the other animals in the zoo, and all the families in the big city around them, they went to sleep. And I want to read this author's note to you at the back of the book. All of the events in this story are true. Roy and Silo are called chin-strap penguins because of the delicate line of black feathers that loops under their beaks, as if to hold a hat in place, a chin strap. After years of living side by side in the Central Park Zoo, they discovered each other in 1998, and they have been a couple ever since. Tango, their only chick, was born from an egg laid by another penguin couple named Betty and Porky. That couple had often hatched their own eggs, but they had never been able to care for more than one at a time. In 2000, when Betty laid two fertile eggs, Rob Gramsci decided to give Roy, Silo, and one of those eggs a chance to become a family. If you go to the Central Park Zoo, you can see Tango and her parents splashing about in the penguin house, along with their friends, including Nipper, Squawk, Charlie, Wasabi, and Pee-wee. There are 42 chinstrap penguins in the Central Park Zoo and over 10 million chinstraps in the world, but there is only one Tango. And Tango is special because she has two dads. And how do you think Tango feels about that? Is she happy or sad? She's pretty happy because she's got two dads and they both love her. And when you get right down to it, it doesn't matter what your family looks like. What matters is that they love you and you love them. And that's what our Family Diversity Week is all about, is to just be loving and kind and be grateful that we have love in our lives. Okay? So, have a good week and enjoy your family. Give them all a big hug.